$1.64 quadrillion. That is the total amount of untokenized money out there in the world. Think about how crazy that actually is, and think about what that does for this entire asset class that is still in its infancy, that is now starting to tokenize small fractions of that amount of value. With that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. If we really think about the value out there, the value of everything, it's insane how small the tokenized space in crypto right now really is. $170 billion tokenized out of $1.64 quadrillion. Just saying that out loud, first off, is crazy. It just shows you how small and how minuscule this space really is. Even if we go back to November of 2021 at a $3 trillion market cap, it still just shows you how small that really is. A drop of water in a bucket, if you will. Now, I bring this up because as we look at XRP and as we look at Hbar, these are two projects in this space that have two incredible teams behind them that are working with some of the biggest names out there around tokenization. Let's start off with this video here from Subjective Views. Now, I have 3 posts from Subjective Views regarding video clips that I want to play in this video because they are crucial to understand just how big of a network effect, if you will, the tokenized space will be in crypto. Because you got to remember that bridges are being built left and right to specific names that are tied back to some of the largest players out there. And we're going to dive on deep into that. But let's start off with here this video from Subjective Views. Chairman at Ownera IO comments on the current landscape of the demand for tokenized real estate, which, by the way, real estate, $380 trillion global asset class amongst accredited investors. As you watch this, keep in mind that one of the custodians that Ownera uses is Ripple. Check this out.
Got 10 seconds. Tell us the pitch.
Ernst & Young have just published a report on the demand side, looking at high net worth individuals, family offices, and fund managers, and asked them whether they'd be interested in investing this year and next year in digital assets. The vast majority said they are, and then they asked them, what would you like to invest in? And they said real estate and private equity. The future is now. It's coming, real estate is here, and it's going to be the biggest tokenized asset class by far.
Got 10 seconds.
So there you guys have it. Now, also building on top of this, here we have Ownera IO enables interoperability between different blockchain networks, allowing for seamless asset transfer and interactions. They also use Ripple and Metaco and Fireblocks for custody. Now, we're going to dive on deep into this. It's 1 minute and 9 seconds long, but I want to break this fully down. Really kind of tying in all the connections back to Ownera with Ripple, Hedera. It's going to be very, very interesting to kind of see how all of this is not only expanding, but becoming this network effect of massive amounts of value and growth around tokenized assets.
Where there is the headwind or the challenge at the moment that we're working together to overcome is actually there's both supply out there in terms of high quality assets and there's demand out there from the wealthy of the world. And eventually it will go retail, but for now we're talking about at least getting high quality assets down from the hands of pension funds into the ultra high net worth and accredited investors. But you've got to bootstrap that, right? As soon as you've got high quality assets, investors want those high quality assets. You've got pools of investors, they want the assets, but you have to bring the two together. That's what a lot of firms and institutions here are in the process of doing this year, is getting up and running with the first pools of very high quality assets that those high net worth want access to, being able to distribute those to some of the largest wealth managers, multifamily offices, etc. Once you do that, those assets that are there being distributed attract more investors, the investors there attract more assets, and then we see that tipping point, and then you add to that network, and then you start to see all of this going electronic.
And what he described there is a network effect, or if you will, a domino effect. you're going to start to see a lot more capital flowing in, a lot more users flowing in. I mean, this is going to be very, very interesting once we start to see everything fully rolling out. Now, remember that Ownera does Ownera does have ties back to Ripple and Medico, but they also have a tie back to Hedera back in April when they did announce that Archax with Hedera, they were tokenizing a money market fund through BlackRock actually, and Ownera was tied to this. In fact, Ownera was a big piece of the puzzle here, and it's so interesting because although yes, this announcement did cause a lot of it caused a lot of drama and things like that. The main thing here around Ownera is that they were going to leverage their Fin P2P network for distribution of tokenized shares in money market funds and to help facilitate their first multi-million-dollar trade on Hedera as well. Ownera is a big piece of the entire tokenized economy. If we actually look at this quote here from the CEO and co-founder of Ownera, we have, using a simple Ownera buy-side router, suitable banks of all sizes, wealth managers, asset managers, broker-dealers, RIAs, registered investment advisors, and exchanges can route transactions to the tokenized money market funds offered by Archax. This is another step towards realizing the vision we share with Archax and other partners across the ecosystem of a global institutional tokenized assets ecosystem with market-wide access, distribution, and liquidity. AKA, this is going to be an institutional network effect. This is a very big deal. The market side of things is being created. Remember that quote, and I believe it was from Brad Garlinghouse. It might have been from David Schwartz as well regarding tokenization. They said, it's very simple to have things tokenized on chain, but you need an underlying market. You need a market maker around this. Ownera is a big player around that. Ownera also having custody services with Ripple, which is also Medico, and also Fireblocks. Fireblocks is one of the biggest institutional custody players in this space. You can clearly see the path being forged here. But also, building on top of all of this, we have over here Ripple, Medico, Archax, Hedera, and Aberdeen. Connections upon connections. Archax is a London-based digital securities exchange which facilitates the regulated trading of blockchain-based assets. As you can hear in the clip, the head of market development noted that they are using Medico, Ripple's newly acquired company for segregated security solutions, aka custody. Archax has three arms: a regulated exchange or multilateral trading facility, its tokenized engine for issuance, and a custody subsidiary based on technology from Medico. As for the tokenization engine, they have tokenized the money market fund for Aberdeen using Hedera. Aberdeen is the first major UK asset manager to issue a tokenized security. But then you also have, this money market fund with Archax around, BlackRock with Ownera. But check this out.
Here you really see a deeper dive into what our institutional grade structure looks like. And this is really how we hold these multiple types of assets. So nominee trust structure for securities. And then in terms of security on the digital side, we have a security segregated solution delivered in partnership with Medico and IBM. We've multi-sig process in place for withdrawals. We also have CAS permissions in place, and so for securities and cash, which is demonstrated here by the flow that you see in front of you. This is really an important differentiator for Archax. And as we face off against institutional players, what they really want to see is institutional grade regulated entities. Segregation of assets, how they're held and by whom they're held is absolutely paramount. It's a key differentiator for us, and that has to be across multiple assets, both traditional and digital.
And this is exactly how the blueprint for this entire tokenized economy will really kind of look. You have the client access on the left, you have the custody in the second part, the insolvency remote, and then the infrastructure. Now, infrastructure is banks, cash, Crest, securities. There you have Medico, which is Ripple, IBM, crypto itself. You have Archax, along this entire line around the insolvency remote, you also have the client bank accounts leading into Archax custody, which you could also mix in, Medico as well. Medico has their custody services as well. All of this is really kind of tied together. And then this leads into the API with the client and the GUI, or just the user interface. All of this is becoming a reality right now. The entire infrastructure, the entire foundation for the tokenized economy is becoming a reality now. And remember, right? Archax is a big piece of the puzzle. They're working with Hedera. They are working with Ripple. I believe that they're also working with a few other players in the space. I want to say Algorand, and a few other ones. I'm kind of blanking on the other names, but I know Algorand might be tied back. They are a big enabler of the tokenization economy. Now, if we go and look at Ownera themselves, we actually have the interconnectiveness really kind of being a spotlight here. We have client and partner solutions. Ownera interconnects the industry. Ownera is focused on bringing our clients and partners to production in 2024 across commercially proven tokenized asset classes, so we can together scale the industry exponentially in 2025. So it seems as though 2025 is the focus of scaling the industry greatly. We have liquidity, money market funds, and intraday repo. Alternatives, this is real estate, private equity, gold, and then debt, syndicated loans, and tokenized bonds. Beyond this, we have the full breakdown of money market funds. Here we have Archax tokenized Aberdeen's money market funds, Archax tokenized BlackRock's money market funds, multiple others in our pipeline. Then we have intraday repo. This is with JP Morgan and a few other big players. And then down here we also have the institutional real estate. Again, major banks are tied into this. Big NDAs as well here. And then of course we have early access to alts, including real estate, private equity, gold, things like that. Syndicated loans, tokenized bonds, all of this, by the way, major banks, all NDAs as well. You have US Bank here, ABN, AMRO. You have major banks on the left side with syndicated loans, but all of this is NDAs. And they want to interconnect the entire industry. That's all, like the whole focus here is interconnecting everything. We interconnect the financial institution industry to distribute and trade tokenized assets. We do it by delivering interoperability routers to sell side, buy side, and regulated service institutions. AKA, they're creating the underlying market with Archax and these big players that are already tied in. And here we have the full breakdown. They have 70 financial institutions back in 2021 to 2022. Then they continue to gain a ton of major institutions. They continue to expand. And by the way, they got a strategic investment from JP Morgan, dozens of successful POCs, pilots, and live deployments. 2024, they're going production ready, delivering interoperability for repo and money market funds, alts, and bonds. 2025, scale volumes exponentially across partners and asset classes. And here we have industry reports predict tokenized assets under management will reach 15 to 18 trillion by 2030. Until now, the focus was on deploying tokenized asset supply. It is time to deliver industry-wide institutional scale distribution and liquidity. And remember, right, that Archax, which is tied back to Ownera, Archax already said, hey, 30 to 50 trillion trading on the XRP ledger by the end of 2025. We don't know if that's going to come into reality, but that is a massive statement. And it just goes to show you how fast things are going to heat up once we start to see major scale happen. But look at the Ownera board. You have major banks, JP Morgan, US Bank here. I mean, guys, Morgan Stanley, Citi, the list just goes on. This is a very substantial company with a massive goal in mind. And they're already tapped in with Ripple, with Hedera. And also, here we have from October 2022. So JP Morgan was a major investor into Ownera. But the full focus here was how a security can trade on one DLT and settle on a separate blockchain. DVP for institutions. Guys, as we look at what's going on here, the entire foundation for the tokenized economy is being created. And even over here, we have Ownera R3 partner for security token interoperability. This was back in September. And also, if we go to Tokentus, which is another company, they invested into Ownera. They also have investments into Ripple, XRP, Polysign, a lot of these other companies that we know about. But if we actually look at the breakdown of Ownera, we have tokenization of assets and us. Ownera delivers an extensive interoperability trading network for tokenized assets with the objective to create a global unified intertrading pipeline for digital securities, efficiently connecting siloed tokenized platforms and trading interfaces, aka they are the network of tokenization networks. Their business model, infrastructure based on the open source FinP2P protocol. Ownera's offering seamlessly connects any type of securities tokenization engine on any public or private blockchain, or even on traditional ledgers. For financial institutions and venues, Ownera can provide clients with a unified digital securities wallet connected to a single API that aggregates and normalizes the offerings. Clients can then invest, trade, lend, and borrow against a connected set of tokenized assets, aka they are creating that institutional market for the tokenized economy. This is why I say focus on some of these players that have connections back to Ripple, connections back to Hedera, connections back to Algorand. The winners are being chosen. Right now, everyone is focused on the price action. Everyone's focused on Bitcoin. Everyone's focused on this, that, whatever. Guys, I don't think that I need to tell you. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of you out there are very smart that understand that the values that you see on the screen today around XRP or around this or that, whatever, it's nonsense. In fact, it's ridiculous. Those prices are not real. And when I say that, I mean, all of those values are not tied back to utility or things that actually matter. They're tied back to speculation. They're tied back to hype. They're tied back to Bitcoin. It's nonsense. When we start to push into a utility market that is regulated, all of these trillions and trillions of dollars that we talk about that, sound great on paper, they'll finally start to flow into the space. There is $1.64 quadrillion out there yet to be touched. What do you think happens when this space is regulated and utility matters? We're going to start to see hundreds of trillions of dollars flowing on chain, and the winners that have been chosen along the way are going to eat it up and grow massively, because this is going to be 24/7, 365 trading, and it's going to be institutionalization of these utility networks. Because once the institutions are here, they bring all of their clients, they bring all of that money with them. We're going to see mass adoption of this technology, and it's all going to be through UIs that clients see, and they don't even realize they're using the technology. Just like this image here, where you have that client, you have the API, and you have the user interface. They don't see Archax, they don't see Medico, they don't see any of that. They don't even see the technology. They don't even know what they're using. All they see is a user interface, and that's mass adoption. That's how we grasp that $1.64 quadrillion out there yet to be touched. That's where we start to see the tokenized economy becoming a reality. And that's where these utility assets like XRP and Hbar and Algorand, that's where they become very valuable because of the utility and the value behind the utility. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.